The Lehigh Valley Zoo has red pandas, y'all! Woo! Hello, I'm John Rossi. I'm a touring drummer with a passion for animal conservation. When I'm on the road, I spend as much time as possible visiting zoos, aquariums, and conservation organizations. Now, I want to share those places with you. I'll be talking to keepers, vets, conservationists, anyone who can help me in my mission of connecting my people to animals through their people. Join me on my Rossifari. Hello. Welcome back to the Rossifari podcast. All right, y'all. So you knew this one was coming for a little while now, and I am so excited to be bringing it to you. This is the official look at the brand new red panda habitat and the brand new resident red pandas that are now calling the Lehigh Valley Zoo home. I am recording all of this. I did the interviews and stuff earlier, and even the intro and everything, today on Thursday, June 6th, which was the donor preview for the Red Panda exhibit. Tomorrow, on Friday, members get an early morning preview, and then anyone in the public can go and see red pandas at the Lehigh Valley Zoo in Pennsylvania. Now, this zoo is an AZA accredited facility. It is a small zoo that has a lot of really cool, unique animals. And I like to think that it's one of those zoos that is just on the rise. And actually, one person I spoke to today was talking about the fact that, this is a very exciting time for small zoos right now. There are a lot of really good small zoos making a lot of huge strides and growing in amazing ways and bringing in new keystone species and upping their education work and just all of the things that we love so much. And Lehigh Valley Zoo is one of those zoos. So I'm really excited to be sharing this all with you now, and especially sharing it while it is so fresh. So you are going to hear from Dr. Stephen Marks, who is the veterinarian at Lehigh Valley Zoo, and who is also serving on the steering committee of AZA SAFE Red Panda with me. So we talk about all things panda as they pertain to the zoo, and we also talk about kind of his thoughts and expectations about the SAFE program for red pandas so far, which is just really exciting and something I am incredibly passionate about, obviously. And then after we talk about all of that and go through that whole interview, you're going to hear my thoughts on the event for donors tonight and on the exhibit, and share some extra stuff that I learned about the exhibit. And then turns out that a former guest was at the event tonight as well. And we caught up. And it just so happened that I had a microphone on me. So you're going to get some extra bonus content that I think you're really going to like. It's only a couple minutes long, but it's that good stuff, y'all. So yeah, I'm excited to share all of this with all of you. And honestly, I think we can just get right to it. So without further ado, here is my interview with Dr. Stephen Marks of the Lehigh Valley Zoo, which has a brand new red panda exhibit. Woo! All right, so let's start off by you telling me who you are, where we are, and what you do here.
Well, my name is Stephen Marks. I'm the veterinarian at the Lehigh Valley Zoo.
Yeah. And we are here today for a very specific reason, which is?
Well, we've got an exciting new exhibit. It's the red pandas.
Woo! I've been very excited about this, and I'm guessing you might have been as well.
Oh, you bet. You bet. They're definitely on my top 10 animal list.
Nice. So I want to talk about all things red panda and the zoo here, but I'd like to start off with a little bit of a background about the person I'm talking to. So what made you interested in veterinary medicine, in zoo medicine? Did you always want to work with animals? Tell me your story.
Yeah, I think even growing up, I loved the James Herriot series, so All Creatures Great and Small.
Yes.
And that definitely got my, kind of directed my career early in life, wanting to be a veterinarian. And I love all kinds of species. I enjoy the large animal and the small animal. And so I'm really an all creatures great and small kind of guy because I just find them all just fascinating. And every time someone asks me, what's your very favorite animal? I said, I don't really have a favorite because they're each unique in their own way, whether it be a hummingbird or whether it be a rhino or whether it be a red panda.
Yeah.
They're just beautiful. So that kind of got me started in my veterinary career, and went through undergrad, applied to the University of Florida, and got into vet school. So I was pretty excited about that. Then when I got out of vet school, I'm sitting there at graduation and I'm thinking, well, now what? It's like all my life and the past 8 years in college, I've been focused on just becoming a veterinarian. But I found I did about 3 different exotics rotations my senior year, and I did a preceptorship at the Miami Metro Zoo, and that was definitely my passion. And I remember everyone telling me, "Oh, you'll never get into vet school. It's so hard to get into vet school." And I did. And then I heard the same thing about becoming a zoo vet. Everyone's like, "Oh, you'll never be able to do that. There's only like a few jobs out there, and they're so competitive." But if you follow your dreams, it'll take you there. You just have to persevere.
Nice.
And so that got me into the zoo field. And I started out in mixed animal practice as a veterinarian, got some experience in small animal and large animal. And then an opportunity opened up to become the veterinarian at the Pittsburgh Zoo and Aquarium.
Oh, great facility.
Did that for 10 years. And just life just took me from one thing to the next. I was a director over at Elmwood Park Zoo for a while.
No way.
Yeah. And then
I have a great relationship with Elmwood Park. Yeah. I love that facility
It
so
is.
much.
It's a beautiful zoo.
Yeah. I'll actually be heading there at the end of this month to talk to their vet, Michelle, about they have a whole new vet hospital and opening.
I was just there last week.
Nice. How is it?
It's unbelievable.
Amazing.
It's incredible.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, $40 million will buy you. But, and then I actually came to Lehigh Valley Zoo and became their executive director for a while and took them through their first accreditation with the AZA.
Nice.
And then I did a number of different things after that. I was I served with a veterinary mission in Thailand, and we did work in Nepal as well.
Oh, wow.
And so that was pretty exciting work. But eventually I come back around to the zoo that I really love, and that's the Lehigh Valley Zoo. It's just a beautiful place, and it's about the smile on a child's face. And it's a perfect zoo, especially for a family with young children. And it's always been close to my heart. So I'm excited to come back as a veterinarian and get to work with the animals again.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I know that a lot of times when I talk to like directors and stuff, they mention that they miss the animal time. So it must be nice to have gone through kind of that period of life and had maybe a little less like hands-on time and now be getting back into, going out into the field and then coming to the zoo where you can be hands-on with the animals.
Yeah, it definitely gives you a perspective. And
yeah, I believe it.
I've had a lifetime of it. So
it's very, very
I feel
cool.
very blessed.
Nice. Well, we're very glad that you are here. And I'm always, curious, like, how many years did you put in as a, quote, normal vet before getting into the zoo side of things? And was the transition hard for you?
That's a great question. I worked 3 years in a mixed animal practice, and then an opportunity opened up at the Pittsburgh Zoo and Aquarium and the National Aviary also. I was a veterinarian as well there. And the transition was, the medicine is the same. Mm-hmm. It's just applying it to different species. So for me, the transition came pretty natural because of my passions and my curiosity about all the variety of species of animals out there. And it's just, the animal kingdom just amazes me. Yeah. And when you get up close to them, that's a whole different experience.
It really is. It really, really is. When I started this podcast as a COVID, project, I'm a professional musician and there were no musicians needed because there were no gigs. I didn't know that it would lead to me being so hands-on with so many different species and getting to meet, hundreds of incredible animals. But doing so has really made it my number one passion, like pushing past music, which was always my passion in life. And I keep finding myself looking for more ways to be a part of the animal world now because they're just amazing. And while I also have my favorites, you know, you're right. Every animal from the tarantula and Madagascar hissing cockroaches that I've held to the rhinos and hippos and, giraffe and elephants and megafauna that I've gotten to spend time with has just like touched my heart. There hasn't been a single moment when I'm with an animal that I'm even like, this is okay. Every one of them, I'm like goosebumpy.
Yeah. Yeah. And as a veterinarian, I think you get that much closer. And, the first time you put your hand up against the hand of a gorilla or an orangutan, or you're working on a Kodiak bear under anesthesia, and just his breath is enough to blow your hair back under anesthesia, and their nose is the size of your face. You start to realize how amazing these animals are. And it's just a privilege to be able to work on them. So
that's
exciting.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, we mentioned that we're here to talk about the red panda situation. So let's dig in a little bit. Were you here, or are you privy to kind of why the decision was made to go with red pandas, other than because they're obviously the best animal?
Actually, I wasn't. Okay. I just kind of lucked into the fact that that was the next exhibit after I started working here. So I was pretty fortunate that was already in the works. It was funny because I was walking around the zoo, actually when I was interviewing for the veterinary position with the director, and I said, we were looking at the old prairie dog exhibit. I said, boy, this would be a great place for red pandas or something. It's just, that's exactly what's on our plan. And I hadn't seen it. So it was just perfect.
That's awesome. That must have felt really good. And so, is this going to be like a one-off, species, or is this going to be the start of like building up more of an Asia section, or like what's the thought as far as, now that they're here?
That's another great question. Yeah. In the master plan, I don't want to preempt too many things, but I know it's, they are planning on a new Asia area.
Okay.
And so most of the new exhibits that are being built are focused on Asia as we expand into that part of the zoo. And so they're perfect animals for this climate.
Yes.
And so, most people think of Asia as, palm trees and heat. But the reality is most of Asia is very cold, and they have climates similar to what we have. So they're animals that can do well in this location and in this climate. And so it was a natural expansion, and I think a good one, a good plan.
I mean, I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
And I'm curious. So, a big part of this was doing fundraising to build the exhibit and to get the community involved in that exhibit. And as I mentioned, Rossifari listeners chipped in, and we were able to get the podcast listed on the sign, which is pretty cool for a little animal podcast. But what was the reaction like? I saw a lot of names on there. I was pretty excited to see how many people seemed to care. And do you find, or do you think that the community has, kind of been excited about it and maybe felt a little bit of a sense of ownership of it?
All right, we'll be back after this quick break.
Hi, this is Kathy Hill from the Indian River Lagoon National Estuary Program. We're all about restoration projects in progress this season on One Lagoon, One Voice. Learn about the great strides the lagoon community is taking to restore and protect the Indian River Lagoon. Each week, we dive deep into discussions with scientists, resource managers, and nonprofit leaders to explore lagoon issues and solutions. From oyster reefs to clam restoration, algae blooms to muck, you'll learn all about the projects we're tackling to bring the Indian River Lagoon back to health. Click the link in the show notes to follow One Lagoon, One Voice, learn about the IRL Council, and explore our unique lagoon.
Well, I probably have a biased view because I've told most of the people I know about it. But everyone I've told has been extremely excited about it. And it's great. I think even the people listening to this podcast have been a part of not just this exhibit, but red panda conservation in the bigger picture, which we'll talk about, I'm sure.
Yes.
But it's, every person plays a role in that. And even just coming to visit the pandas that are here as flagship animals at the zoo is key to preserving them even in the wild. So
absolutely, yeah.
People become aware of what they are and what threatens their habitat.
Yes, awareness and honestly, like, a passion for things really matters, and getting to see those things definitely helps build that passion. As does connecting with the individual animals. So we're gonna take some time now, and I want you to tell me about who these two pandas are, and tell me all the things, because we were chatting before, and you said they have very distinct personalities.
Oh, they do. We do name them here because we just. The keepers just love these animals. They take excellent care of them, and they're like part of their family. And so they're called Cosmo and Meeko, and they're two brothers, about a year old. Came from Birmingham Zoo. They were bred there in captivity, and so we're excited to introduce them to our new exhibit here at the Lehigh Valley Zoo.
Yeah. And they came from Birmingham, and I was actually there when they were cubs, but did not have the chance to see them, and it made me so sad. So I'm excited to finally get to see these little goobers a couple months after I had hoped to. So I'm sure you know this, but fandas are pretty ridiculous about knowing which pandas are where and tracking the movements, and it's kind of fun. You get to feel very connected to these animals.
Yeah, and they do have individual personalities. Even I haven't known them very long since they've come to the zoo as they've been going through quarantine, and I've just been observing them and checking on their health. But Cosmo was much more assertive and just kind of confident. He seems to be the big brother of the two. Whereas Meeko is much more meek.
That lives up to the name then.
It does. It really does. And they're easy to tell apart because they've actually got quite a bit different coat colorations.
Interesting.
Yeah, Cosmo is more of the dark red and cream color, and Meeko is more blondish. It's more. It's not as striking.
Interesting.
They're both really beautiful animals.
Very cool. Are they Styani or Fulgens?
They're Fulgens.
Okay. Cool. That's interesting. You don't usually see a ton of like dark red in the Fulgens, is what I have found. So that's cool. Yeah. Interesting that you'd have such variety with brothers too. But that's awesome. So let's talk about the exhibit a little bit. What can you tell me about it for people that are, I'll post some pictures to the Instagram, but for people that are listening, help them visualize this new exhibit.
Well, it's beautiful, really. It's they call it the Panda Peak because it's sort of a mountain cliff that's been built over top of their holding area. So you don't actually see the area where they're kept at night. We bring them in to keep them safe and to feed them. Most often, but they all eat out on exhibits as well. But it looks like a mountain scene with a large, like a limb log structure in the center, and glass viewing from several different angles. And it's a great exhibit for the animals too. Lots of areas where they can climb, feel safe, shelter from the weather and that sort of thing when they're out on exhibit. So it's a very naturalistic sort of landscape immersion exhibit, and very modern. So I'm pretty excited about it. I can't wait to see the pandas in there.
Yeah, I know. They go on exhibit today as we're recording this on Thursday, and about 2.5 hours from now is the preview for the donors and stuff. And so I will be back here and cheering on and seeing them. It was interesting. It was fun, but weirdly, I don't know, weird going to, like, when we first got here, you and I went and looked at the exhibit at my request. I wanted to see it, and it was like, it's beautiful. It's like you said, it's great. And it's all set up and there's bamboo ready for them. And knowing they haven't been out there yet, I'm kind of like, give me the pandas.
There's a lot of planning goes into it. Not just the veterinary end of things, but also the animal husbandry end. And we have to ship the bamboo in ahead of time and make sure that everything's prepared for them so that they're happy in their new home.
Yeah. And so with the keeper staff having had, time with them for a little while now, I'm curious how they feel about them and how the relationship building is going.
Well, some of the keepers have had the opportunity to work with them, but because they've been going through quarantine, it's a pretty limited number of keepers that have had the chance to do that. But they're just as excited. They've been waiting for this for quite a while, as the SSP has decided which pandas we were going to get. So.
Yeah, very cool. Did you have to like call up Sarah Glass and be like, look, you better send us some good ones?
I didn't, but the curators worked that out. The vet stays out of that one.
Fair. See, I thought you might use your connections though, because we can talk about this a little bit now, but part of having animals in a zoo is obviously saving them and taking care of them in the wild. And you and I and Sarah Glass are all on the new Safe Red Panda steering committee. And so I know that's actually, we saw each other a couple weeks ago on the first meeting on Zoom. Pretty sure that's what got me through the red tape to get this interview today. So thank you for that. But can you tell me about that a little bit and talk about SAFE and what you're hoping to see from that?
Sure. Yeah, there's the AZA just loves their acronyms.
Yes.
They have what's called species survival plans, which kind of helps regulate and optimize breeding within zoos. But the SAFE program is also another AZA program, of which Lehigh Valley Zoo is a member of.
Yes.
And they're involved in saving animals from extinction. In other words, Excite-2 in the wild conservation. And you might say, well, what does, these two pandas in a zoo have to do with saving red pandas in the wild? Well, a lot of things, even this podcast, making awareness of the things that are affecting them in the wild, deforestation and the pressures that are facing red pandas in the wild, as well as One Health issues that may come up. This is kind of where the veterinarian comes in. And One Health meaning both human and animal and where they interact. And you always have to, if you want to preserve red pandas in the wild, you have to think about the people as well. It's a human-animal interface. But zoos collaboratively are a very powerful organization. Because they have a huge number of visitors, and so they can have a huge impact on awareness, as well as help to raise funds for conservation in the wild. So when you come to the zoo and you see that cute little stuffed red panda, cushy thing in the gift shop, and you buy one for your little Joey, it's some of that money can go toward things like the SAFE Committee, which then works with the Red Panda Network to help support conservation efforts in the wild as well. And so collaboratively, zoos can have a huge impact on preserving the species in the wild. And that's what the SAFE program is all about. It's about collaboration amongst zoos that currently house red pandas or are involved in their conservation efforts.
Yep, absolutely. And I find it fascinating how many different people with different levels of experience and like different, for lack of a better word, angles it needs to take. Like you and I are sitting on the same committee right now, same steering committee, but you are a veterinarian and have all this experience doing veterinary work and stuff in the wild. And I'm not that, but I'm really good at social media and bringing awareness to, people on Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff. And both are important. And it's good to remember that sometimes, because honestly, I felt all kinds of imposter syndrome at the beginning of that meeting when everyone was saying what they do. And, oh, I'm a veterinarian. Oh, I've worked with red pandas for 30 years. And I'm like, I host a podcast and play around on Instagram. But, in the end, it is important, and it's all important.
All important, yes. Yeah. And that's a collaborative effort. And it just, it's like an exponential curve. The more people you get from different walks of life working together for a common goal, the more impact it has. And that's what the SAFE Committee does. It brings collaborative efforts together to really help make an impact. And it's exciting that they work so closely with the Red Panda Network in Nepal. Nepal has done, it's really, of all the countries which red pandas are native to Nepal has really spearheaded the conservation effort. So that's been really good.
Yeah.
To have boots on the ground and input and buy-in from the people that live there. Very important.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Red Panda Network has done a great job with that. And I know, like, I volunteer for them as well. And I know other people with the SAFE program are very involved with Red Panda Network. And I'm not surprised, but I'm really glad to see that it's like a spirit of collaboration, because I have done episodes about different conservation organizations that it becomes a spirit of competition. And unfortunately, the very people trying to save species can really cause a lot of damage to the species. The main program in Panama that's working on saving golden frogs right now, there was this huge rift and some people left it and set the program back years. And, I get it. We're all human. We all have our things. But I love seeing the collaborative effort here. And knowing the people involved on both sides. I'm not surprised, but it's still nice to see. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I agree.
Absolutely. So is there anything else that you want to share about all of the panda stuff going on at the zoo right now?
All right, we'll be back after this quick break.
What if I told you scientists discovered 100 new species in the deep ocean?
Why did crocodiles survive extinction?
Megalodon. How did it go extinct? Hey, it's me, Forrest Galante, wildlife biologist. You might know me from Joe Rogan's podcast or my various TV shows like Extinct or Alive and Shark Week. Join me and my friends as we dive into the wild world of animal anomalies and everything wildlife. Don't miss out. Click here to uncover these mind-blowing animal mysteries.
Oh, well, we have our donor opening tonight, and then there is a membership opening. They get the first look at our pandas at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Nice.
Before the zoo opens up to the general public at 10. But it doesn't matter when you come throughout the day. It's going to be a great day. We're hoping for great weather.
I mean, we got it today.
Can't control
I was worried when I woke up. I was worried when I woke up.
Yeah, I think it's going to be okay. But we're pretty excited. And, zoos can do so much, contribute so much through the general public, not just awareness but also supporting conservation in the wild, because conservation, it's an aesthetic that's really only appreciated on a full stomach. And I've been to Nepal. A lot of families struggle just to feed themselves, and they cut firewood because that's the only way to heat their homes. We take a lot for granted here in the U.S. But the funds that are raised here can make a huge difference and impact on helping not just the pandas, but also the people that share that habitat. So I think the SAFE program is phenomenal, and it's exciting to be part of it.
Very cool. Very cool. Before I let you go, I want to hear about some of the other stuff going on at the zoo. So, we were here maybe a year and a half ago or so, and I got to spend some time with Meeko the raccoon, which was unbelievably fun. What a goober. And also with the penguin colony. But maybe pick another animal or two and share some info on what's going on with some of the animals at the zoo.
Well, we're pretty excited. Our giraffes are doing well. They're loving this weather as well, and a lot of people are taking advantage of the giraffe feeding opportunity here, which is always, when you get close to an animal, you can appreciate them that much more. Mm-hmm. And that's what the giraffe feed gives you, an opportunity to do that. And
I will tell you, when I started having all these cool experiences with animals, one of the things that I genuinely thought was going to happen, I am not a cynical person most of the time, sometimes about humans, but that's about it. But I remember thinking somewhere around the 5th or 6th time that I was feeding a giraffe, this will start to get old at some point, right? Like you're feeding a giraffe, you've fed giraffes, you've fed. Now I'm dozens and dozens of feeds in. And every time it's magical. It's so amazing to get to spend time with giraffes. And when Elmwood Park reopened after COVID, I was one of the people invited, along with my wife, to kind of reacclimate their giraffes to giraffe feedings, And I was given so much lettuce because there were just a few of us and we needed to see, make sure they would spend the time and come over. And I probably spent 20 minutes feeding their giraffes.
It never got old, huh?
Not only did it never get old, but the next time I went to the zoo, I went and bought more and fed more to those same giraffes. It is so much fun. And I remember our good friend Nikki Boyd, who's also on, Safe Red Panda, when I was in San Diego with my wife, was like, hey, do you want to come and feed the giraffes? And again, we had gone behind the scenes with honey badgers. It was this rare, cool experience most people will never get to have. And we're both like, yes, we do. And it was so amazing. And I love that you're able to provide that sense of awe to the public, in general. It's amazing.
Well, before we started this, you asked about the grossest experience I've ever had in a zoo.
It's time now, don't you know? We've come to the end of the show. But there's one tale left to go. You're gonna laugh and say, oh no. It's time for the Rossifari poop story.
Well, this is when I started at Pittsburgh Zoo. My wife was working. She had just got a new job at a pharmaceutical company and nearby. And her boss wanted to see the gorillas. And I said, well, okay, I'll take you in to see the gorillas. I got okay to do that. And so I took her boss in, and the silverback was there behind the cage. And I said, whatever you do, don't stare the silverback in the face because he doesn't like that. He's gonna get upset. They see that as a threat. So anyway, I take him in the back, and what's he do? He's just so in awe about this giant gorilla in front of him. He just stares him down. And the gorilla got all upset. He picked up a big wad of feces. It hit the cage front, it spread into 100 pieces and covered us completely.
Oh, no.
But I thought, oh my, I just got my wife fired from her new job, But no, her boss thought it was pretty cool. And he says he took it to the dry cleaner. Never guess what's all over my suit. But yeah, it was pretty gross. Gorillas have an odor to them.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's absolutely incredible. Awesome. Is there anything else that you wanted to share or talk about or anything?
No, just come visit us here at the Lehigh Valley Zoo.
Sounds
Do
good.
your part for the red panda.
Woo. Thank you so much for the time.
You're welcome.
Well, that was obviously a lot of fun. But then after that, I actually had a really cool experience. I love how open zoos are with me sometimes, and this was one of those times. I didn't realize that the zoo was actually closing early today to prep for the big, red panda reveal. And so when I finished the interview with Dr. Steve, the zoo was already closed, but I didn't know that. And so I very naively was like, hey, I'm going to take my recording gear out to my car, drop it off, and then just wander around the zoo if that's okay. And he said it was fine. And I actually also had the opportunity to meet the COO of the zoo, who also said it was fine. And so I ended up just getting to wander Lehigh Valley Zoo kind of by myself as they were prepping for this Red Panda event. And yes, a few people did stop me, and a couple others looked like they were going to, and asked who I was and what I was doing. But they were all very friendly, and, we're just looking out for the zoo and the fact that there was some weird guy wandering kind of aimlessly and happily. It's kind of the story of my life, wandering aimlessly and happily, and looking for red pandas. And actually, part of the fun of this was that Cosmo and Meeko had not actually had the opportunity to go out on exhibit at this time. The original plan was to get the construction done a couple days before this event and then to give them some time to acclimate to the outdoor habitat. Unfortunately, last minute construction things happened, and the pandas ended up not having the opportunity to try and go out on exhibit until 3 p.m. today, Thursday, when the event was starting at 5:30. And so as I was wandering the zoo, I wandered towards the panda exhibit, and there were a whole bunch of staff members of the Lehigh Valley Zoo and some interns as well, sitting around hoping to see the pandas come out and hoping to maybe coax them out on exhibit. And they did not seem super interested in coming out at first. And so as it happened, the interns and the staff had to go do interny and staff things. And I was hanging out with just a couple of people from the zoo, and we were chatting and having a grand old time. I cannot stress enough how awesome everyone at this zoo was to me. It was really, really sweet. But as we were hanging out, the last few staff members kind of decided to go back and maybe check on holding or something like that. And thus I was standing completely alone at the exhibit when Meeko, the meek one, the one who normally does not do anything like this, decided that he was going to come outside. And he ran outside, and I was the first and only person in that moment to see a red panda at the red panda habitat of the Lehigh Valley Zoo. I was so tickled. And of course, I immediately called, the other people over. But Meeko basically ran back inside immediately and then ran out again and stared at me and then ran back inside. And it was really cute. And I hung out for a while longer, but I did not get to see any more panda at that time. But it's one of those little things that will always mean something to me, that I got to have that experience. It's just so cool. And then after that, I decided to head out and grab a little bit of food. And I came back for the official ribbon cutting ceremony and going to actually see the pandas on their exhibit. And it was an awesome event. Y'all, the community was fired up for this experience. They were out in force, and they were there to see these pandas and celebrate them and celebrate the zoo. And keep in mind, this was just for donors to the exhibit. So I was shocked at how many people were there and how big of a deal this event was. I did want to point out that I actually saw a large contingency from Elmwood Park Zoo, and it was awesome to catch up with that team. I love it there so much, and they were very excited to see me, and we spent some time catching up. And I have the feeling I will be there soon, talking about that vet hospital that I mentioned in the interview there. And it was such a good time, and the pandas were being adorable and cuddling and just. Y'all, if you get a chance to go to the Lehigh Valley Zoo and check this exhibit out, I cannot stress enough that you need to do this. It is so cool. The main holding building is covered by foam rockwork that the pandas can climb on and stuff. As a matter of fact, they even installed these two reflective heat things so that if the pandas want to get warmth in the winter, they can go to certain rocks and sit under these little things and be warmer than they would be otherwise, which is incredible. The exhibit itself is awesome, very naturalistic, some really cool climby places, which the pandas were already their very first night on exhibit taking advantage of. I just loved it. And then I loved seeing a face that I had not seen in a minute. Because, y'all, I ran into Dani. The Dani I'm referring to, of course, is Dani DiMarco, who you heard on 2 episodes previously from Lehigh Valley Zoo. One of which was all about penguins, and one of which was about Meeko the raccoon. And I don't know why in my interview I said raccoon. It's a raccoon. But anyway, I digress. It was so good to see Dani, and I spent so much time hanging out with her and listening to her, being an educator and educating people, and her passion is just so incredible. And I was actually smart enough, I'm usually really bad at this, but I was actually smart enough to remember that I had a microphone in my pocket. And so here is Dani on her thoughts on the evening. So I am here wandering the Red Panda donor event at Lehigh Valley Zoo. And who do I run into but Dani, who has done a couple episodes on the podcast. So hi, Dani.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm so happy to be at the Red Panda event because I think the last time I talked to you guys was with our trash panda Meeko. So now we have the Red Panda Meeko and we have our trash panda raccoon Meeko as well.
Yeah, why are there so many Meekos at this zoo?
I don't know. I wish I would help if we didn't have a bunch of Meekos. It would help us kind of interact with their guests a little bit better and have a little bit more clarity, but that's okay.
People always confuse red pandas and raccoons anyway. So yeah, I'm just saying this wasn't the best choice, but...
It wasn't the best choice. It's actually, they were confused for a really long time. Scientists thought they were part of the same family, but they are actually completely separate. Red pandas are part of a carnivore family. So they're a branch off of carnivores, but they're the only surviving species of their family. So they're not related to pandas. They're not related to, all the other animals. They're all on their own.
But then there's the separate Meekos family, which are just all the animals named Meeko. So
That is true. We have Meeko the red panda, Meeko the trash panda raccoon, and then we have Meeko the lemur. So we have all the Meekos here at the zoo.
3 Meekos. So how do you feel about the new exhibit and everything opening up and everything?
Oh, I'm so excited. It's a great opportunity to see them, 360 view. It's another animal you can see during the winter time here, which is really important for us. They don't have to go inside. They're Himalayan animals. They like the snow, hopefully. They'll have a good time out in the snow, but I'm super excited. Every time we bring new animals, it's a good time at the zoo.
Yeah, I was surprised in the ribbon cutting ceremony. They mentioned that up until last year, there had been like years without a new exhibit. And now it seems like there's been some growth last year, this year, and y'all are poised for more since they're talking about bringing in additional Asian animals. So you excited about that?
I am very excited. Everything that happens here, we keep going up and up. So I'm super hopeful for everything they have planned for us. Everything's going to be super great. Himalayan Highlands sounds amazing. I'm excited to see what animals they decide to bring in to finish that off.
Absolutely, me too. And I don't know if you know this yet, but Steve, as I call him, or Dr. Marks, as you call him,
yes.
Is the veterinarian for the veterinary advisor, or whatever it is, on the Safe Red Panda program. Yes. And I'm working on that same committee doing like social media and stuff. Oh. So I'm so excited that this zoo is going to be part of that huge new initiative.
Yeah, that's exciting. I didn't realize that you were on that. I knew Dr. Marks was going to be part of that. That's incredible. The SAFE programs are amazing. They're super important to zoos to try to help our animals. So thank you for participating in something like that. That's incredible.
How could I say no? Awesome. It's so good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
I love Dani so much. I think sometimes, I go to so many facilities and I meet so many incredible people that sometimes I almost forget how amazing some of the people are. But to tell you how excited I got when I saw Dani today, because I wasn't sure if I would see her this evening or not. It was actually on my way to see the pandas on exhibit for the first time. And I saw her and got so excited that I ran over and talked to her, delaying my initial viewing of the pandas. I know. Y'all are in shock right now. But that's just what an incredibly passionate, wonderful human being can make you do. And I'm just so grateful that I was able to catch up with her and rekindle our friendship. And I need to remember just how awesome Dani is, because we need to have her as a continual repeated member of the Rossifari family. I mean, just an awesome human. I wish y'all could have seen her interacting with the kids and adults that had questions about the different animals at the zoo this evening. It was so cool. What an awesome human. And so that basically wraps it up. But before I go, I do have my standard ND things that I need to do. So I want to remind you all to make sure that you follow along on the socials at Rossifari, on TikTok at Rossifari Pod. And of course, you can also support the pod for as little as $3 a month by going to patreon.com/Rossifari. And I'll take a moment here to thank all of my donors, especially Emily Poche, who I got to meet at the Lehigh Valley Zoo this evening, and also my Red Panda level patrons, Dr. Laura Schenk, Dr. Stephen Williamson, Barbara Bennett, and Jenny Owens. And remember, friends, The word credits backwards is Steiderk. The Rossifari podcast is produced, hosted, and engineered by John Rossi. Editing and fact-checking by John and Dr. Zoe Rossi. Our theme song is Sevens by Nathan Burke, performed by Nathan and John. Interrupting John theme and additional voices by Taylor Isaac Gray. You can reach John directly on Instagram and Facebook at Rossifari or by email at rossifaripod@gmail.com. Rossifari is part of the Daydreamer Media Network. Now, stop listening to me and go visit a zoo.